Now, I know y'all are probably wondering who's this dude on the camera, who's on YouTube. Sorry it's been so long, but welcome back to a new edition of Holding Court. It is your boy, First State Hoops Report founding editor and Holding Court host Chris Stevens. Hopefully, you all are doing well out there. Hopefully, you've enjoyed your summer. Well, summer's just about over from the vacation perspective as high school sports are starting to ramp up, starting with the fall sports. Shouts out to our football kids. Our Now I had to remember which sports we got: football, field hockey, boys soccer, volleyball, cross country. Yeah, that's it. I couldn't remember. I could not remember, which is crazy because I covered high school sports year round for over 20 years until I transitioned to doing First Day Hoops Report, as a full-time thing a couple years ago. But anyway, so we got fall sports on the way. Still got to wait through that before we get to basketball season, which starts in late November, early December. But I felt like in the midst of all the other stuff that I've been doing, and I'll tell you about that a little later on, probably towards the end of the show, I was like, I can't let Holden Court just the whole summer. I mean, I've been busy doing so much other stuff that we still need to talk basketball, even if it's from, an outsider's perspective, because I just have not had the opportunity to hit up these tournaments and different things of that nature for one reason or another. But I'm still dedicated to covering high school sports and high school basketball in Delaware is what I'm trying to say, the way it should be covered during the regular season. Outside of that, I'm going to need a little more help with that. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But hopefully you guys are doing well. Once again, if you're new, be sure to subscribe to this channel, tap that notification bell so you get notified of every new video that drops on this channel. I place highlights here. In fact, I may start doing like a little best of from 2024, 2025 on Instagram just to get some stuff out there because content is key. Is king, actually, is what they say. My boss at my day job tries to remind me of that with all my other doing. So I was like, well, might as well get First Day Hoops Report up and running again. So sorry for this long behind intro, but let's talk hoops. I did want to talk about, the transfer portal as it relates to high school basketball here in Delaware. I mean, the biggest transfer as of right now is Gigi Banks going from Ursuline to St. James Academy in Northern Virginia. We've talked about this a lot from the perspective of journalists, observers, and things of that nature. And I was one of the people that wanted Gigi to stay. I did. Like, I wanted to see her break Elena's records, win a couple championships and all of that. But her talent right now is just far beyond what this state can offer her. And there are a lot of kids who are transferring out of state on the girls' side, on the boys' side. And I hate to keep beating this dead horse, but as long as the corpse still sort of has some, as long as it's not too stinky, I can still go over and beat the dead horse. I'm going to beat the dead horse about this. We're losing kids because Delaware basketball just does not get the respect it deserves from, competition committees, the legislatures and all of that. Like, they've kicked the can down so far down the road as far as basketball goes, we can't even see the can anymore. Like, we don't know what high school basketball in Delaware is going to look like in 2027. Forget 2026. We don't even know what it's going to look like in 2027, 2028, 2029, 2030, any of that. Ooh, my nose is itching. My grandmother used to say, one of my grandmothers were famous on saying, if your nose is itching, that means company's coming. Ain't nobody coming over here. At least I hope not. But anyway, we really watched people downplay basketball to the point where these kids that have a decent amount of talent don't see the point in playing here anymore. And that's terrible. That's outrageous. But nobody has been bold enough to call anybody out about it. I mean, I do it all the time, but my stuff kind of falls on deaf ears for whatever reason. Actually, I don't think it does because one person at DIA doesn't speak to me anymore. Doesn't hurt my feelings. As long as you don't stop me from doing my job, we ain't got to be cool. I mean, we ain't got to shake hands. We ain't got to talk about, what we having for dinner. None of that. Don't get in my way. I won't get in yours. But as far as that goes, I mean, it just literally, it sucks because we got talented kids here, and we're still doing this whole thing where we can't play more than 20 games in the season. We're still doing this thing where we are wringing our hands about paying for shot clocks. We are still having to we're getting everything but stuff that these kids need to be successful at the next level. Like, the main thing is that there's going to be a new ruling. This is a national ruling, though. So, I mean, it's ridiculous across the country that you can't jump up off the bench or go too far out or you're going to get teed up. Like, we know these kids get excited. Like, if somebody gets crossed up, gets their ankles snatched, somebody gets dunked on, these kids are going to get amped. And these coaches, they like to yell to their players who, I mean, these are teenagers. Teenagers have a hard time hearing. I remember I was a teenager at one point in time. I had to get yelled at a few times. So, I mean, you got coaches that are trying to yell instructions to their players. They might have to step out. I just kicked my own desk. Yeah, they might have to step out to say, hey, call a timeout, run a specific play, all of that. You're going to tee that coach up because he's trying to get his players' attention. You're going to tee the bench up because the kid saw a play that got him excited. This is why we can't just let basketball end after the second weekend in March. Like, we need, clinics. We need workshops. We need people to care about basketball, basically. That's what it boils down to. We need people to care about basketball. And right now, we don't have enough people that care about basketball in the modern game, in the modern sense, at least, here in Delaware. That's just my personal opinion. Because we can talk about everything else that's wrong with the game. We can talk about how, the private, and I've been just as staunch a public school advocate as anybody, about how the privates are taking, public school kids. But now we can't even say that anymore because St. E's lost their entire team to the Philly Catholic League. The entire team. I mean, this is no longer Delaware private versus Delaware public. This is an interstate thing now. This is Philly, Jersey, DMV versus Delaware. That's really what it boils down to. It's like those three surrounding areas saying, let's see if we can get that kid to come down 95 or go up 95 or go across the Ben Franklin or go across the Walt Whitman or go across the Delaware Memorial Bridge. However you get into Jersey. I'll be honest with you. Walt Whitman scares me. The Ben Franklin scares me. The Commodore Barry scares me. And as funny as it is, the Delaware Memorial Bridge is older than all of them. And I prefer going over the Delaware Memorial Bridge when I go into Jersey. And you're probably thinking, Chris, that's a long behind drive if you're going to like Camden or Cherry Hill or whatever. So I just have a level of comfort with the Delaware Memorial Bridge as opposed to the Commodore Barry, the Walt Whitman, and the Ben Franklin. I just do. I still remember the last time I went over to Commodore Barry. That's a personal story. That's another story for another time. Yeah. But anyway, anyway, these Philly, Jersey, and DMV schools are looking around and saying, all right, Delaware got some talent. But we can offer them things like shot clocks. We can offer them things like more games. We can offer them things like better competition. And these kids are going to go for it. Their parents are going to go for it. And it's terrible that this game is the one in Delaware that gets disrespected the most. Do you know a lot of kids that transfer out of state for football? You don't. Do you know a lot of kids that transfer out of state for baseball? You don't. Do you know a lot of kids that transfer out of state for soccer? You don't. This is a basketball unique problem because basketball in this state, I hate to get on my Malcolm X dean, but Malcolm X once said the most disrespected and underprotected person in America is the black woman. So the most disrespected and unprotected sport in the state of Delaware is basketball. It just is. And it sucks. I mean, I keep saying it sucks because that's the only other way I can describe it. Because none of this makes any sense. You're telling me that we can't get at least 22, 24 games so that Flight A and Flight B can play a round robin schedule. Well, not a round robin. That's not the correct term. The correct term is home and home. You're telling me that we can't get a home and home for Flight A and Flight B. You're telling me that we can't get a shot clock. You're telling me we can't get tournaments where these kids can at least get the exposure. I mean, I have my own thoughts about exposure anyway, from a macro perspective, but from a high school perspective, exposure still counts. So you're telling me we can't get these kids more games so they can't get more exposure and then still be able to play a state tournament worthy schedule. I don't buy that. It's just that people in Delaware do not give a you-know-what, as the Staple Singers used to say, a good gahoot about basketball. If they did, I wouldn't have to keep talking about this. But that's what learning that Gigi's going to inspire learning what Kyan Alexander, Deshaun Holden, uh, Mason Price, Caden Brown, seeing all of these talented kids say, all right, we've done all we can do here. And they're right. They're right. I mean, you can't take, especially in Gigi's case. I mean, Gigi's trophy case is stacked to the rafters right now. And she still got 2 years of high school ball left. Ain't too much you can say about that, man. Like, what else was she going to do here? She was probably going to average a good 30 here next year and be bored as all get out doing it. She needs to be pushed. I mean, and she wants to be pushed. That's how you know the great ones. Somebody that's good, they're cool with being good. Somebody who's great is not cool with being good. They want more. They want to see more. They want to be challenged. They want to work on their game. They want to, see what everyone else is working with so they can, combat what they're doing. And that's why it makes sense that Gigi went to the St. James in DMV because, they're going to play a national schedule. I mean, the DMV has a lot of talented girls anyway, but she'll probably see players from, like Taylor Brown, who's still Long Island Lutheran, who was at Ursuline with Gigi for a minute. A few other players from different parts of the country, like the Carolinas, Georgia, Florida, Texas, California, Michigan, Illinois, Ohio, Tennessee, Oklahoma, Pacific Northwest, Washington, Oregon. She's going to see people from all across the country. And that's only going to make her better. I mean, she was already pretty doggone good, but this is probably going to make her what she's always been, and that is a top-level recruit from a college perspective. It's not to say she wouldn't be that at Ursuline still, but it wouldn't have been, honestly, it wouldn't have been fair to everybody else because Gigi would have probably just ran through everybody these last couple of years, scoring 30, doing whatever. And, everybody's just like, well, we're just happy to be on the same court with her. The kids that Gigi's going to play against, they're not going to be happy just to be on the court with her. They're going to want to beat her. But as we've seen with her work in the overtime league, she's already ahead of the game for a lot of people, not just in Delaware in this area, but in the country. So, she's already great, but she just wants to be greater. And there are a lot of kids who feel like that. And I wish them nothing but the best. Like, I want them to succeed. We still going to claim them. We are absolutely still going to claim them. There's a good opportunity. There's a good chance that Robert Wright III gets drafted next year. Wouldn't it be crazy? We'd have 3 guys from Delaware in the NBA because you got Bones and Dante on the Timberwolves. And then, of course, Little Rob. I call him Little Rob because I went to Catholic school with his father. I went to school with Robert Wright II and his uncle Justin. We all went to St. Peter's around the same time. First, second, third grade, I think. Matter of fact, yeah, it was first, second, and third grade. We old, y'all. We are old. We are the adults now. It's so funny. We never thought we'd be the adults, but we are the adults now. But yeah, that's why I call him Lil Rob because I know his father. But yeah, Lil Rob had a wonderful year last year at Baylor. Like, he was one of the top point guards in the country. Now he's going to BYU to play with AJ DeBonsa, who was the top recruit in the country. And all Rob's got to do is feed AJ DeBonsa and then take advantage of his opportunities when they come. So he's probably going to get drafted. People are probably going to look at his size and be a little dissuaded, but he's still 6'1", 6'2", 180. I think if he puts on another 10, there won't be anything to talk about. He'll still be a worthy point guard. But he's a worthy point guard now. But Lil Rob played 1 year at Sanford and was around, was it Newman Goretti? I think it was Newman Goretti, and then IMG Academy. Like, he played maybe 1 year high school ball in Delaware, but we still gonna claim him if he gets drafted because he's from Wilmington. We still gonna claim these kids when they prosper, man. But it's terrible that they don't get the chance to thrive here because the people in charge don't see any benefit in strengthening the game of basketball. I talk about this every time, but it just needs to be talked about. But there are some other things I want to get to that aren't really Delaware related, but they still have importance. I did want to talk about the WNBA and the mess that's going on off the court right now. Well, technically it's happening during games, but it's on the court. But it's off the court foolishness. This is a mature subject. So if you're not ready to have your kids, I mean, I'm not even going to say what is being, I'm not going to, I'm definitely going to tamper this down. This is definitely going to be like a G-rated explanation. It might be PG-13 at the most. But there's this group of idiots that are throwing adult objects onto courts at WNBA games. And I just want to say it's gross, it's uncalled for, and it's highly disrespectful. And everyone that's been arrested and charged thus far, good. I hope there are more people that are arrested and charged. Whoever keeps doing it, lock them up. I don't care what the conviction is. You still got a conviction on your record. Because how many people do we know with unfair convictions on their record, still trying to outrun those ghosts? You got idiots out here, who don't care for women and don't care for women's sports, doing disruptive things like throwing adult, things on the court. And this sends a poor message to the girls who look up to WNBA players, because they're seeing this, because this didn't start until the women of the WNBA said, y'all got to pay us what you owe. And they should have been doing this. The rap saying goes, know your worth and add tax. And the women in the women's soccer league, the professional softball league, the professional women's hockey league, these track and field stars, the gymnasts, pay up. It's that simple. Women athletes are just as good as male athletes, and they deserve just as much money or something comparable to that. Like, people are saying this, the WNBA girls, they want a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander contact. No, you dip. I was about to cuss. You dipstick. What they want is fair pay. It's not that much to ask, I don't think. I mean, if you watch Asia Wilson play for 15 seconds, you know that, she would be the max play. She would be a max player in the W. If you watch Caitlin Clark play, even though she hasn't been healthy this year, you would know she's a max player. You would know Nafisa Collier is a max player. And whatever the max the WNBA players deem it to be, pay them. It's that simple. But that foolishness with throwing junk on the court didn't start until these women started asking for more money. And that sends a terrible message to the young girls watching. They're saying that, you women don't have the right to ask for anything, because we're just going to be idiots about it. Because these are all dudes throwing these things on the court. These are maladjusted dudes who probably got called a dork by a girl in 7th grade and just never got over it. These are the types of people that are in charge of this country now. The dudes who never made out well with girls, not made out, I mean, whatever, you know what I mean, who did well with, these are dudes who never did well with girls, who are always thought as weirdos by boys and girls alike, and they're just intent on pushing themselves on people because they can't get attention no other way, because nobody wants to be bothered with them. And throwing adult whatchamacallits on the court is just terrible behavior. And I hope they all get charged and locked up. I do. Because we got to be better about how we treat, women and the young ladies, because they're watching this. Make no mistake. I mean, people thought it was funny at first. I never thought it was funny. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I never thought it was funny. I thought it was terrible. I was like, why are you throwing that on the court? And now that it's become a thing, I'm like, yeah, lock them all up. Lock every single one of them up. I don't care. And I'm not a punitive punishment justice type of person, but in this case, lock them all up, or put a conviction on their record. I don't care, because it's gross, it's disgusting, it's uncalled for, and it's vile. I just wanted to say that, because we can't. There are two genders that play basketball: men and women, boys and girls. And you won't see women throwing women related toys or aids on the court. You won't see women going to men's events doing ridiculous stuff, like faking falling asleep in the front row, like some dude did at a WNBA game a couple years back. Like, this is a problem that is unique to men, certain demographics of men, I'll say. who have a problem with not getting attention from women. And it's so funny because, I mean, I didn't mean to go on a real political, sociological rant about this, but there's a thing going on talking about the loneliness epidemic among men. Ain't nobody gonna care about that if you throw on adult things on a basketball court, because you deserve to be by yourself. Like, if you can't treat people right, you shouldn't be around people. And that ain't got nothing to do with dating. That ain't got nothing to do with romance. That has everything to do with just being a good, solid human being. If you can't treat people right, you don't deserve to be around people. And people don't have to be bothered with you. So I just wanted to put that out there. I just had to get that off my chest really quickly, because I mean, we have great girls basketball players here in Delaware, and the girls and women's sports are growing. I mean, Goldie Beacom, shouts out to Goldie Beacom. They just announced that they are adding women's flag football, and there are a few more girls flag football teams coming here in the state of Delaware. Wouldn't be surprised if that becomes a championship sport next. That's going to be fun. That is going to be fun. But we gotta, if we're gonna give girls and women opportunities in sports, we have to be respectful of them as human beings as well. So I just wanted to get that off my chest about the whole, WNBA throwing stuff on the court debacle, because I can't rock with it. It was dumb when it first happened, and it just became gross and more gross when more people started doing it. So lock them all up, and throw away the key. That's how I feel about it. Is that all I wanted to talk about? Yeah, I'll probably save the Sixers stuff for the next time, because, God, I got a lot to say about the Sixers. And none of it's good. If you're a Sixers fan like I am, you ain't feeling good about this coming year. But we'll talk about that on another episode. I might drop that midweek, a quick little Sixers thing midweek. But that's going to do it for this edition of Holding Court. I want to thank y'all for rocking with your boy, as always. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, my Cash App and my PayPal will be in the description below. I've actually launched a Patreon under my government name. Well, I mean, Chris Stevens is my government name, so I don't even know why I'm telling you this. But I've launched a Patreon for all of my, stuff that I work on with respect to my other podcasts and different things. If you want to sign up for that, it's $3 a month. I mean, you would get advanced First Day Hoops Report business before it goes on our website, or advanced videos before I share them on Instagram and YouTube. And for $3 a month, man, that ain't a bad price. So I'll put the link to that in the description below as well. So thank y'all for watching. Hopefully y'all are doing well, enjoying your summer, what's left of it, because we only got a couple weeks left for y'all are back in school. Once again, school should not start until after Labor Day. I stand on that. I stand 10 toes on that. These kids deserve to enjoy their whole summer. There's no point in going back the third week of August when it's still 90 degrees outside. Let these kids enjoy their summer. And let the teachers enjoy their summer too. I'm sure the teachers want a break too. So yes, the only time school should ever start is after Labor Day. Anything else is uncivilized. But thank you guys for watching Holding Court. Until the next time we talk, y'all take care of yourselves and each other.